how many more times will we talk about Aaron Rodgers? Well, yesterday he was on his friend's show, the Pat McAfee show. You know that it was going to be heavy. You know there was going to be a lot to get into. And he attempted to clear the air about his situation with the New York Jets and give a glimpse into his future in the NFL if he's going to continue his playing career. Well, here was Aaron Rodgers on his future in the NFL.
I meet with the coach. We start talking. He runs out of the room. I'm like, that's kind of strange. I was like, then he comes back with the GM. And I'm like, all right. So we sit down in the office. And I think we're going to have this long conversation. I've flown across the country. And 20 seconds in, he goes, literally, I'm talking to the GM about something, and he leans to the edge of his seat and goes, so do you want to play football? And I was like, yeah, I'm interested. And he said, we're going a different direction at quarterback. And I said, and I was kind of shocked. Now, not shocked because I didn't think that was a possibility. Listen, of course, they want to move on, that's totally fine. But shocked because I just flew across country. You could have told me this on the phone. If we weren't even going to have a conversation, and this is verbatim exactly how it happened. So I said, huh? And he goes, we just want to know how you want it released, the messaging. And I said, verbatim, I don't give a shit about the message. And I said, why? And then he said, I don't want to be up in front of the room saying something and have guys looking back at you.
Interesting.
And I said, what does that even mean? Are you assuming that I would be in the back of the room during a team meeting undermining what you're saying? I said, you don't know me. And he said, you don't know me. And then I said, exactly, which is why I flew across the country to have a face-to-face meeting with you to talk about my experience with the Jets and to hear your vision for the team. 20 seconds in. What I thought was going to be a couple-hour meeting turned into like a 15-minute meeting, and I walked out of there.
So you heard him right there, and he clearly had an issue with how this went down. It wasn't guaranteed he was going to continue his career with the New York Jets, but he had a problem with the messaging. So that entire meeting, having fly cross country to meet with the organization, was about how do we handle this from a PR standpoint. I'm here to tell you that had they done this over text, had they done this over the phone, had they told Aaron Rodgers that, hey, over the phone, you're done. We're moving on with you. We're going a different direction. Aaron Glenn probably saying, I saw what you did to my boy Robert Saleh. You're not going to do the same thing to me. If they had done that over text, if they had done it over the phone, I guarantee you Aaron Rodgers would be on Pat McAfee's show saying, why didn't they have the guts? Why didn't they have the heart to do it in person? Why did they disrespect me like that? So really, this is just Aaron Rodgers always finding an issue with anything. And it's clear to me that he kind of wants to play, but he wants to do it in an organization where he has more control. He wants to do it in an organization where he can kind of walk all over them like he did with the New York Jets. And he did go deeper in other topics. He was asked about where he's at right now, where he's living, and he said, I'm in Malibu. I kind of live a quiet life. It's been an interesting break for me, and he's been working out a lot. He's been focusing a lot on his personal life. He also was asked about his hesitance to make a decision on the future of his NFL career, and he said, I'm in a different phase of my life. I'm 41 years old. I'm in a serious relationship. To make a commitment to a team is a big thing. Whether you're a first-year player or a 20-year vet, I had a lot of great conversations with a lot of teams. Not one of those was the Jets because that wasn't a great conversation, but I'm open to anything and attached to nothing. So yeah, retirement could still be a possibility, but right now my focus is on my personal life. If I'm a team out there, I'm saying, well, your personal life at this stage of the season is not going to help us as a team. I think he has to approach teams saying, look, I still can play the position at a top 15 to 20 quarterback level. Quarterbacks don't grow on trees. I'm a veteran. I have to be all in on my career because this impacts coaches. This impacts young players. This impacts organizations. I don't think teams want to hear him say things like that. And he was also asked about his contract demands. Says, I'm told every single one of the teams is not about the money. I've told them that. I'll play for $10 million. I don't care. And he was reiterating again that he's offered to play for $10 million in 2025, which would make him the lowest paid starting quarterback in the NFL other than the guys that are on rookie contracts. So he's saying he'd pay for $10 million. I'm telling you, Rodgers at $10 million, if it was just about the quarterback and not kind of the Aaron Rodgers circus that comes along with him, that'd be great for a lot of teams, especially because you could use that money on other things. And then he was talking about the teams he's met in free agency and the teams that he's had great conversations with. He said he had a great conversation with the New York Giants and Coach Brian Daboll. He called Brian Daboll a beautiful football mind. He also said he had a great conversation with the Minnesota Vikings and their head coach, Kevin O'Connell. He said that he's a buddy of mine. And he's also said that he did visit the Pittsburgh Steelers and he tried to do that as quietly as possible. We know that wasn't the case, and he would go further on the situation with the Steelers and his meeting with them. He said that he did speak with Coach Mike Tomlin many times in addition to visiting their facility. He said that Tomlin is, quote, more impressive than I ever thought from afar. And he said that he visited them in part to see what life would be like in Pittsburgh. So it does feel like Pittsburgh is still somewhat of a possibility. I think that you have to have respect for a guy like Mike Tomlin, and certainly Aaron Rodgers realizes that no matter what he's going to do in Pittsburgh, it's not going to break the foundation of that franchise. And he would go on about the possibility of becoming a Steeler. He said, this entire time, I haven't felt like I owed anybody any decision at any point. I've been upfront with them about that. I've said, hey, listen, if you need to move on, by all means. There's been no deadline. I'm trying to be open to everything and not specifically attached to anything. I'm not holding anybody hostage. When the commitment is made, it has to be an all-in type of commitment. I don't think it was fair for the Steelers or anyone while I'm dealing with a lot of that off the field, on the field stuff that people need to know about. So, yeah, this sounds like he definitely is still interested in playing football, that he wants to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers preferably. And I do think that if I'm the Steelers and you need a quarterback, he's a better option than a lot of guys that are out there. I think that the Steelers really are the only franchise I would want to see him play for. And that's because if you throw him into a weak situation, which the New York Jets were, the Jets have been in a 40-year darkness retreat with the way that they have performed on the field. Yeah, clearly, if things don't go his way there, he's going to be able to do what he wants, right? I mean, facilitating a trade for Devontae Adams. I mean, leading that team to 5 wins is really not what they had hoped for. And then he suffered the injury the year prior. But I think with the Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl, Aaron Rodgers. But I do think that Mike Tomlin, my trust level in Tomlin, it's a situation where if he likes him, I love it for them. Because Mike Tomlin is certainly that guy. So we'll see what happens with Aaron Rodgers. I think that he's going to play. I think that he does have some football left in him. And let's be honest, the quarterback play in the NFL outside the top 10 to 15 guys is not great. And I think there's been a drop off in that position the last couple of years. And Aaron Rodgers can still play that position at a league average to an above average level. Every statistic points that out. So if he really wants to hang him up, knowing that he can still play in this league, then that's going to be a decision that he's going to make. But J-Rob, what do you make of Aaron Rodgers' comments about the Jets and how he handled himself there?
I mean, I really love that they trolled him and made him go all the way across the country to tell him that we don't want him. I mean, is that not something Aaron Rodgers would do to another team? Ask them to fly out to California to see him just to tell them that they're not going to play for him. And for him to not understand Aaron Glenn's commentary about the team looking at you. Aaron, you have been a player who has made a lot of decisions based off what you have personally felt. Yes, the players look at you because you're the guy that doesn't come to OTAs all the time. You leave and miss days to go to Egypt. This is the type of player you've been. And so nobody wants to be held hostage by you. And D-Mac, at this age, the juice just isn't worth the squeeze. I told you before, I think it is time for him to head towards retirement. And look, he could tell me till he's blue in the face that all these teams are interested. D-Mac, I don't think anybody really wants Aaron Rodgers. I really, truly in my soul feel like if teams were that interested in Aaron Rodgers, he'd be signed to a NFL franchise right now. A $10 million for him not to sign for $10 million, that should tell you everything you need to know that the league feels about him at this stage. And look, 1 year with the Steelers might be nice, but where does that take them, D-Mac? A wild card, maybe a wild card, maybe a wild card. Because listen, if Cleveland is somewhat decent with Cam Ward or whoever they get at quarterback, I mean, the Steelers have been really an average at best team. They haven't really been great. They've kind of just snuck in on great coaching, but not really a great talented roster. And so Aaron Rodgers is not a needle mover to me. It's kind of humbling to see that he's starting to realize like the NFL is not going to bend the knee per se to Aaron Rodgers.
The truth is, though, I mean, look, Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Justin Fields right now. Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Russell Wilson right now. The numbers last year told you that in a bad organization for the Jets. And I do think, the Jets did troll him for sure. There's no doubt about that. But let's be honest here. Aaron Rodgers himself has the same amount of Super Bowls as the Jets do.
Come on,
in their franchise.
Come on,
I mean, the Jets, Aaron Rodgers has the same number of Super Bowls than the Jets have in the last 56 years, right? So, I mean, I think the Jets aren't that franchise to be doing guys like that. I mean, let's be honest. They're the Clippers with a championship. Right?
Why are you trolling me now?
I'm not trolling you. I respect you. Dude, I'm a UCLA fan. They're worse than what the Jets are in the NFL, right?
I feel you, bro.
But
You're right. You're right.
I'm just saying, like, look, I respect. If I'm Aaron Glenn, I would have won Aaron Rodgers back, right? I would want a clean slate. I would want my guy. I wouldn't want that. But I also think, like, man, if look, at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers, the last part of his career has definitely kind of put a little stain on what has been one of the best careers for any quarterback. I mean, he is objectively a top 5 to 10 quarterback in the history of the game. And it's sad that it's gone this way. I mean, we've seen guys like, legends in other sports kind of have a more graceful ending to their career. Hasn't necessarily been the case for Aaron Rodgers. And look, he kind of embraces and kind of lives in the weirdness of how he handles things. And it's unfortunate for him. I'm not like the biggest Aaron Rodgers guy. I just think that for me, it's more like a reminder that the quarterback play has diminished across league. Tom Brady's talked about this. And I just think he can still play. I mean, he can still play. And look, here's the thing. If Aaron Rodgers is on the Steelers and it's Thursday Night Football, are you more likely to watch that game?
Of course.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
of course.
He still has that like star power. He's still good enough. Like, I mean, there's some guys where it's like, it's gone. Like, it's completely, the absolutely gone.
Yeah,
like, they can't help a guy. They can't help a team out there. And he still has that ability. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm kind of here for the crap show and all this. And I mean, I don't think the Steelers play the Jets next year, but
I wish they did. I would love for them to be on the schedule. That would
be must see TV. But I like the Jets going a different direction. And look, this is just something that they had to do. I'm just surprised that they did it this way. But switching gears.